I'm Alan Weiss, and this is The Writing on the Wall. Welcome to Writing on the Wall, episode Decline and Fall. You might not like this one so much, which makes me giddy about presenting it to you. We're at the airport in New York, Maria and myself, boarding a flight from New York to Athens. And we're in line at TSA. And Maria points ahead and says, "Look at that woman." And this woman had on a very fashionable dress and high heels. Her hair was done nicely. She had jewelry, accessories, makeup, a scarf. And Maria says to me, "That's how people used to dress on planes." And it's the truth. When I first flew at 17, when I was an exchange student, my very first airplane, you wore a shirt and tie. Now, jackets and ties used to become common at dinner. When I was dating my wife at 17, when I first got my license, you put on a jacket and tie to go to a Chinese restaurant. There's a restaurant in San Francisco, Gary Danko. It's one of my favorite restaurants. I can eat at the best restaurants in the world. And I brag to people about Gary Danko. And then on one occasion I noticed that they had relaxed the dress code. You didn't need a jacket anymore, but people still had collared shirts. Then I went and I found a guy at the bar in a t-shirt. And I stopped going to Gary Danko. It was great food, but there's great food in a lot of places. And I don't need that kind of sloppiness. So now it's exceptional when people seem to take care of themselves in public. And it's exceptional when people show each other respect in public. A flight attendant on a plane goes down the aisle and says, "You're Mr. Weiss." I said, "Yes." She said, "Is it okay if I call you Alan?" I said, "Well, why don't you call me Dr. Weiss? I think that's more appropriate." People turned around. "But why would a flight attendant call me by my first name? I think it's inappropriate." Strangers on the phone use your first name. Fundraisers use your first name. Scammers use your first name. People call like they're old pals. Email uses your first name. My response is the same all the time. Do I know you? How are you my friend? Why are you using my first name? Now, I know you're thinking, why is this so important? Why am I so irritated about this? Well, aside from my basic right to be irritated, I'm going to give you several reasons. Number one is this. When we're this informal in our dress and our language, it weakens civility overall. It causes a decline in respect, a decline in dignity. It weakens the public civility we should be showing each other when there's no respect like that. I love it when you listen to the old period pieces, Downton Abbey and Victoria and The Crown, when people said Mr. and Mrs. It made a little bit more of a functional interaction when people weren't so casual with each other. Number two, it's a false equalizer. Some 25-year-old loan clerk making $40,000 a year, talking to a high net worth individual, should be happy and grateful that individual is even in their presence an important customer of the bank. They shouldn't be thinking about calling them by their first name, like Alan. Our expectation of privacy is basically violated. There's a certain dignity addressing people well and dressing well, and our basic dignity and expectation of privacy is violated. It's a slippery slope. Teachers, for example, often use their first name. Do you remember? Teachers used to dress. Men had shirts and ties. The women had pantsuit or dresses on. Now, call me Larry. Call me Monica. They're in jeans and sneakers and running shoes. I can't believe that increases the teaching ability. I do believe it decreases respect. And if you look today, there's less respect for teachers than ever. It used to be a laudable profession, no longer. When we use first names, when we show a lack of respect, we seem to believe that what other people have earned, we should earn. That is, we're entitled to it. You might have earned it, but I deserve it. You might have earned it, but I should have it too. And that's what happens when everything is equalized. But we're not all equal. Some of us work harder. Some of us have more talent. Some of us have accomplished more. And finally, language declines. And if you don't believe that, look on social media. I habitually remove anyone, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, doesn't matter, who uses obscenity, who gratuitously uses obscenity. Somebody tried to show me this guy who they said is helping millions of people around the world. And I went to his blog, and the third paragraph in his article, he drops the F-bomb. He's just trying to shock. It's no surprise I've never heard of him. And so the language declines and our relationships decline. Now, I'm not asking you to dress for dinner, but I would expect maybe you'll wear clean clothes. I don't think that's too much to ask. You know, if you want to stand out in a crowd, that's fine, but you'd better look good when you're standing there.